Hey, Husker fans. 2022 Big Ten Media Days is only a few days away. And every year, most media outlets come up with something that's like 5 storylines about your team. So I'm going to go with 5 storylines about Nebraska football. In other words, what 5 topics do I think people will be talking about the most? Number one is pretty obvious. Can Scott Frost keep his job? Will Scott Frost be fired? Is Scott Frost on the hot seat? I'm guessing that we're going to be so sick of this topic from, people like Colin Cowherd. Everybody that talks about college football is going to say this about Nebraska. It's going to be the first things out of their mouth. By the time we start the Northwestern game, we're going to be so sick of it that we're probably going to, kind of like come enclosed and build trenches in a big moat and go, he's our guy for now, anyway, until we have to like burn him in effigy. That storyline is the biggest one, obviously. But I think the more interesting storyline about Scott Frost and Nebraska football is how will Scott Frost handle his new job kind of as CEO, as coach? He's got a new offensive staff. Mark Whipple's going to take over the offense, so we've been told. Will that actually happen? Will Scott Frost be a CEO type of head coach? Or will he still have this need to, I get the feeling his ego's involved here. Kind of like Bill Callahan, how he had to prove that he was an offensive genius and really wasn't that, his offense wasn't terrible, but that's not where his strengths were. Can Scott Frost run this team? Can he win games? Can he be a good Nebraska coach? Number one storyline. Number two, I'm just going to go with the quarterback. It's the air quotes thing. The quarterback. Adrian Martinez. There's this whole kind of dynamic where there's a lot of people that are like Scott Frost supporters who look at this and they go, all of these problems were caused by Adrian Martinez. And now that Adrian Martinez is gone, and he went to Kansas State, our team will be fine. So the quarterback is the next storyline I'm going with. Can Casey Thompson ignite the offense? Can Logan Smothers get in the game? Will anybody get in the game besides the chosen one starting quarterback, which right now appears to be Casey Thompson? Can Chubba Purdy come in at any point? Can Heinrich Harburg get on the field? But really it comes down to this. Is Nebraska going to be a good team on offense with a new quarterback or a new set of quarterbacks? And how is that dynamic going to work? Is Adrian Martinez going to have a good season at Kansas State? Do we care? I personally hope he does well at Kansas State. I think that him doing well at Kansas State isn't really indicative of the rest of Nebraska's program in the last 4 years being terrible just because of Adrian Martinez or in spite of him. He can have a good season and Nebraska can have a good season. It's fine. But I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of conversations around that. And honestly, because we're sports fans, there's going to be a lot of people that want to see Adrian Martinez fail and Kansas State fail because, they're Kansas State. Why not? Number three, the offensive line. We spent decades at Nebraska looking at our offensive lines. They won rushing titles. They won national titles. They had a nickname all their own, the Pipeline. They were incredible. We kind of probably maybe took them for granted a little bit, maybe not. But we love our offensive linemen. We have for years. And our offensive line last year was pretty bloody offensive, wasn't it? There was no pass protection. There were constant mistakes, false starts, mental mistakes, holding penalties. Can the offensive line become serviceable? It doesn't have to be incredible. It doesn't have to be a 90s offensive line for this to be a decent football team. So you've got Dominic Raiola coming in. Greg Austin is out. You've got a new offensive line coach, right? You've got Cam Jurgens is gone. That is certainly a big guy, a big hole to replace at center. You've got Norden Newely out for a season, suspended by the NCAA. You've got all these questions around the offensive line. Can they function well as a union? Can they get rid of the dumb mental mistakes? Can they create offense? Can they help with production? Can we run the ball for 5 yards a carry? Can we pass protect for 3 seconds? The offensive line, number 3. Number 4, kind of along the same lines, the defensive line. What happened to the defensive line from last year? Well, it's all gone. The coach, Tony Tuiti, left. He went to Oregon. And then all the defensive linemen left. Some of them just went away because they were done playing football and they went to the NFL, or they went to, and then everybody else transferred, and we look at it and we go, wow, we don't really have an defensive line. But we got him some transfers. We got Stephon Wynn. We got Devin Drew came in. You have O'Shawn Mathis, kind of an edge guy now. That's what they're calling it. Instead of just an outside linebacker or defensive end, he's edge. Can the defensive line do their jobs? Can they stop the run? I mean, I've watched us be bludgeoned by Minnesota for too many years in a row for this. And a lot of that starts right up front, and it's with the defensive line handling the line of scrimmage. Can we get anything out of them? And that's, we have while Dawson returns as the defensive line coach, he was there before, went to the NFL and came back. But what is the defensive line going to do this season? Number 4. And that leads right into number 5. Can the defense return to form? I think, remember the first year that under the Scott Frost reign, everybody looked at our defense and said Eric Chinander needed to be fired. And now you look at him and you go, he has been the most rock-steady coach we probably had. His defensive have performed pretty decently over the last, under Scott Frost. They've done decent. And we lost a lot of players from last year. We lost pretty much all of the defensive line. And then we lost Cam Taylor-Britt, who was certainly fun to watch. Jojo Doman. That guy was fun to watch. And Deontay Williams led the team in interceptions. So we lost some key players in there. We have some other guys coming in. Yeah, we got O'Shawn Mathis transferred in, the edge guy. And we got the Stephon Wynn guy at the defensive line that I mentioned earlier. Devin Drew on defensive line. And then we have like a whole slew of guys in the defensive secondary. I'm not going to name them all, but we have like an entire rebuilt defensive secondary with experience. And can the defense stay together? Can the defense... can the defense win games? Because you kind of look at this year and you go, is our offense going to actually be any good? Are they going to take a few games to kind of work out what they're doing before they start scoring 40 points a game like they should? Those are my 5 storylines. We've got Scott Frost. Can he keep his job? Number 2, the quarterback. What's going to happen with the quarterback position? Number 3, the offensive line. Number 4, the defensive line. And number 5, the defense overall. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. Please subscribe to my channel because I need validated as a guy that you enjoy doing this. Thank you for watching, and go Big Red.